Exploration of the environment is a prominent feature in early child development. During my time with the infants, I have seen each child interact with different aspects of the environment that stimulated their potential interests. Playing with the children, I have gathered that they enjoyed doing things that ended with a result due to their actions. For my curriculum plan, I implemented both reason and relationship between cause and effect. My first activity was water play. It explored their sense of touch as well as the natural effects of liquids when it makes physical contact. This activity gives the infants an opportunity to play with water in a healthy, safe environment while discovering the effects of splashing. Some DRDP domains that apply to this activity is inquiry through observation and investigation, as well as perceptual motor skills and movement concepts. This activity was overwhelming to me because I failed to recognize the amount of infants that were participating. Reflecting back, I had a child slip, which could have been prevented if I had only used one bin instead of two. Blowing pinwheels was my second activity that I thought would appeal to their interest of making the pinwheel move by blowing it. This activity didn't go as I expected because the children did not seem as interested as my alternative activity, which was blowing bubbles. When I brought out the bubbles, I immediately captured the children's attention. They gathered around me to see how I created the bubbles and wanted to learn. Some DRDP domains that apply to this alternative activity are knowledge of the natural world and spatial relationships. As I continued to blow bubbles, I had one of the children approach me because he wanted to mimic me blowing the bubbles. After several times of demonstrating, I noticed that more of the infants wanted to copy what I was doing, so I gave them an opportunity to try it for themselves. I guided the children how to blow into the wand as I held it. Eventually, one of the children managed to grasp the concept and attempted to blow a bubble by himself. This activity was a success compared to the pinwheel. I made sure that I wasn't standing above them and that I was at eye level with the children as we blew the bubbles. However, it was tricky making sure that none of the soapy water spilled on any of them. For my third activity, I brought in a toy that allowed children to discover the concept of cause and effect. There were 4 different ways of seeing the animals pop up, and I showed them how each button worked. I gave the children a chance to try it out. The 2 DRDP domains that apply in this activity were curiosity and initiative in learning, and imitation. This activity allowed the children to repeat actions in increasingly complex ways and learn about the materials and events, such as the animals popping up after they remembered how to operate each button. I realized that the children were engaged with this activity but had a difficult time performing certain motions, such as pushing the button. Perhaps the toy wasn't easy for them to play with, as I assisted with operating the buttons for them, which brings me to my last activity. Finger painting let the children explore the different motions of their fine motor skills and their efficiency when using their hand muscles for play. The children were able to manipulate different motions of their hands using the paint across the plastic surface. A couple DRDP domains that were represented in this last activity were fine motor manipulative skills and symbolic and sociodramatic play. This activity let the children explore the paint in a variety of ways without getting messy. I showed the children that moving their fingers in different motions created different lines on the paint. The children had a great time painting with their fingers, and reflecting back to my first activity, I became more aware of how I should plan my curriculums. my activities became much more simpler, and that helped reach a sufficient outcome. I realized that working with the infants, I didn't have much communication options to use with them. I spoke to the children using basic terminology, however, much of my activities required nonverbal cues. I was very amazed on how intelligent these young infants have become since my first day with them. At this point in the semester, many of the children are beginning to respond to simple tasks and have a good understanding of how things function in the classroom. I look forward to continuing my observations with the children as they advance in their mental and physical development.
Hi, Kaito.
Started in calling, and the girls respond to the call. I hear a poor one shout out.